Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. I hope you all had a good Monday. I hope things have kind of gone well for you. I hope everything class-wise is going okay. So yesterday we talked about the writing system of cuneiform in like Mesopotamia. We're going to kind of shift a little bit to kind of the people who lived in Mesopotamia, like what they're known for. So we're going to be talking about the different groups that came after Sumeria. So if you remember, Sumeria is like the first group that created the city, states, and the cuneiform and the wheel. So we're moving on to past those people. We're moving into those who came afterwards. And so to kind of give you an idea of who those people are, I've put this reading in here that you were going to read through, and it kind of talks about some of what they're known for. A couple things I'm going to highlight that I really want you to pay attention to is the Akkadian and Babylonian empires. And the reason I want these two to be noted more than others is this first one, which is Acadia, and the ruler known as King Sargon. He ruled around 2300 BC or so. He is known for something that a word known for creating a thing or a word that I know we're all familiar with, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars. He created what we argue is the world's first empire. King Sargon created this world's first empire and united Mesopotamia under all of his rule. And so all empire is just a big area of land under one person's control. So he is credited with taking Mesopotamia, the different city-states, and combining them and creating what we argue is the world's first empire. He did it around 2350 BC, I believe is what this reading says. And the Akkadians are important for a few things. One is they were originally an outside group to Mesopotamia. They weren't originally from the area. They kind of came in and took over. We know this because they spoke a different language, and they used military tactics that had not been seen, or at least had not been described in Mesopotamia by the Sumerians. So these people come in from somewhere outside of Mesopotamia. I'm not entirely sure where offhand, but we know that they're not from the region because they speak a different language. They have military tactics. And so they come in, King Sargon sets up the world's first empire, and they have their fun for about 150 years or so. And then the Babylonians come in, and we've already talked about the Babylonians and their most famous ruler. If you remember last week when we did the law codes, we talked about King Hammurabi. He was the most notable Babylonian king. He did a couple things that we're familiar with, one of which was he defeated the Akkadians and put himself in charge of the new empire in Mesopotamia. And he's also known for creating his law code and all the laws that we looked at last week. Someone looked up for me, and apparently, at least the version they found, there were over 280 different laws in Hammurabi's law code at the high point, I believe. So the Babylonians didn't last very long after Hammurabi, but they're famous for defeating the Akkadians and King Sargon. And then Hammurabi is known for creating his law code, and we'll call that the Good and Tales, which is what we've already talked about. The last two I want you to think about, or two I want you to talk about, are the Assyrian Empire, which is this fine picture behind me. The Assyrians aren't really known for much outside of just their brutal military tactics, their brutal treatment of people who they conquered. Oftentimes the Sumerians were known and still are known for their just brutality. Oftentimes they would come in and they would go over a city or a town and just burn it down rather than deal with occupying it. They are credited with developing what we know today as siege warfare, which is just concept of surrounding a city with your army and basically starving the people inside until they surrender. The Assyrians are notable for their siege tactics. And so they are known for their siege tactics, known for just destroying everything. And they are known for believing that as long as they kept winning battles, they would continue ruling over Mesopotamia. And that they thought that if they ever lost a battle, the world would end. Typical apocalypse stuff. And eventually, they did lose a battle, and their world, not ours, theirs, didn't. They were removed from power. They had expanded kind of too far, couldn't maintain everything, couldn't use their army to maintain stuff because it was so far away, and they had to travel everywhere. And so they kind of fell apart, and the Chaldeans, or New Babylon, as some people call it, came into effect. You've ever heard of the Hanging Gardens in Babylon? This is where this comes from. And if you're familiar with the Bible stories involving King Nebuchadnezzar, this is where he comes from. So Nebuchadnezzar was a real king in Mesopotamia. He ruled over parts of Mesopotamia and just kind of brought about the Hanging Gardens, did a lot of science to kind of come through. One thing that he and the Assyrians are known for on the negative side, however, is they would often come in and take people of skill, merchants, artists, scholars, and they would deport them to different parts of their empire. And they do this for two reasons. One is to make it harder for them to revolt, because they're being moved to an area they're not familiar with. They're being moved away from things they know. And two, the idea is these people would help improve infrastructure and other items of value in an empire and wherever they end. So that is actually all I have for today. There is this reading and then this video, and then there's 8 or 9 questions on the next part of the module. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I will see you all tomorrow.